Hello and welcome to this business sustainability video by ESG Partners. My name is Matt Thomas and today we're going to look at the 5 tiers of SME business sustainability. Now there are 5 broad tiers of sustainability in business and the behaviours of SMEs from any sector will fit into one or more of these tiers. And as we go through them, I'd just like you to consider 2 questions, please. First question is, which tier is your company presently in, do you think? And the second question is, which tier would you like it to be in, and by when? So let's have a look at the 5 tiers of SME sustainability. Well, the first tier, I'm going to paint a slightly dark picture here. But the first tier is what we would call pre-baseline. And I would stress that the number of businesses in this tier is very much a very small minority. Yeah, so this is not widespread. But nevertheless, I think we need to look at this. So pre-baseline. A business in pre-baseline would give no thought whatsoever to sustainability. It's just simply not on their radar. They would have no energy or greenhouse gas emissions management or targets in place. Because of the nature of the business and the way it's run, potentially there are exploitative business practices. Perhaps health and safety is not adhered to properly. Perhaps it's sort of like a cash in hand type of arrangement with potentially illegal workers and such like. So, not good in that respect. There'd be no waste management policy. Anything that isn't required is simply thrown away. Clearly there'd be minimal governance and oversight. And whilst not definite by any means, there is the potential for this kind of business to be operating outside of the law, outside of regulation. So we're not going to dwell too long on this. As I say, it's a bit of a dark picture, but equally it's a tiny minority of businesses that operate in it. So let's look at the second tier, which is what we call the baseline tier. Now here, sustainability, CSR, which is corporate social responsibility, and ESG, environment, social governance, are viewed very much as an add-on cost. They're not viewed as something that will add value to the business. It's a separate thing, and it's a cost. There's no greenhouse gas emissions target or policy in place, but there could well be some energy management from a sort of a cost-saving perspective, which is great, it's good. But there's no sustainability plan in a baseline business. They've not considered an ESG implementation to help manage risk. And the use of resources is what we refer to as being linear. So they are purchased or acquired, used, and then discarded. There's no circularity built into resource use. I would stress very much that this business operates within the law. Yeah, so they're doing nothing illegal whatsoever. They're perfectly legal in the way they operate. But they might be operating to, say, the letter of the law, where they might be pushing boundaries slightly, seeing what's the minimum we can get away. It starts to get interesting now, I think, and the next tier is what we call baseline plus. Now here, sustainability, CSR, and ESG might be still viewed as a bit of an add-on to the day-to-day business, but they're very much an aspiration. So I think that suggests a very significant shift in the way this business thinks compared to a baseline business. Energy efficiency measures and savings are in place. That's quite possibly to do with cost, but always should be to do with cost. But also, they might be starting to think about carbon as well. The next point down is that greenhouse gas emissions reductions and net zero considerations are being made. There may not be an actual policy in place presently, They may not be taking direct action, but they are certainly thinking. They certainly know it's the right thing that they should be doing. Waste management and recycling is facilitated in this company. You know, they might have different types of recycling bin in offices and kitchens. If they've got a factory floor or a yard premises, then waste and recycling is sorted and managed accordingly. There is a suite in-house governance policy, so the company is well managed. And they're absolutely not just operating within the law, they are operating within the spirit of the law. A new law or regulation comes along and they look at it and say, right, well, how can we make the best of it? Not how can we push the boundary and do the minimum we can. I think research suggests strongly that the vast majority of SMEs operate within either the baseline or the baseline plus tiered. And I would stress that there's no walls between these, so companies can exhibit behaviours from any number of these tiers at once, but and certainly companies that are transitioning from one to another will be exhibiting behaviours from more than one tier. But this is just gives you a general guide. The fourth tier, it starts to get really interesting. The fourth tier is what we would call the strategic alignment tier. And here, sustainability and or ESG have been implemented strategically in this business. So their business strategy incorporates sustainability and ESG. So a real leap ahead from the baseline plus. There's a stakeholder engagement in place. The ESG impacts on the company from environment, social, governance and law have been assessed. Material impacts have been assessed. Graded. Circularity of resource use is now built into the company. So redundancy of product is being designed out as an example. Resources are used, not just simply recycled, where possible, reused, and that's built into the processes of the business. Net zero objectives and greenhouse gas emissions management is in place. And also, very importantly, ESG and sustainability requirements are enforced insofar as this company's supply chains are concerned. So they may be, for example, a supplier to a larger company, and they may already have seen ESG and sustainability requirements being asked of them by their clients. They are now doing the same thing for their suppliers. So further downstream in the supply chain, these requirements are being put in place by a company in a strategic alignment tier. And finally, very importantly, this company discloses what it does as regards sustainability and ESG. It talks about its activity, it talks about its objectives, and it talks about the material impacts that it is having on the environment, on society, and the impacts that environmental change and societal change are having on it as a company and how it's managing it. It communicates that to all its stakeholders. And finally, the last of the 5 tiers of SME sustainability are what we call purpose-driven, and in many respects, this is sort of beyond sustainability, because this company has a vision, it has values and a purpose separate to its actual business. And this vision, values, and purpose are defined and they're communicated to all stakeholders. So it goes about its day-to-day business, but it has a purpose that is to benefit society or the world, the planet in some way, shape or form. And it uses the business as a vehicle to achieve that. The purpose clearly is going to have to be built into this company's strategy, and crucially, the values and the purpose are embedded in company culture. So it has educated its staff, it has hired staff whose personal values align with those values of the business. It uses circular processes, it's say manufacturing or its use of resources, and where possible, it is regenerative. So rather than simply, you know, maybe in the baseline or baseline plus, companies would be looking to do less harm. In the strategic alignment tier, quite possibly a company would be looking to make sure its impact is neutral. Purpose-driven company is looking to create a positive impact on the world or on society. And impact management is fully understood, managed, and at the very core of this kind of business. And finally, a purpose-driven company will lead and promote sustainable practice. It will act as an ambassador, not just within its sector, but within business in general. And it will want to be seen as an exemplar of how to run a sustainable and purpose-driven business. So there we are. Those are the 5 broad tiers of SME sustainability. And as I say, there's no walls between them. You know, you can demonstrate behaviours from all of these, but it's more likely that that things move up in a series and companies move from one tier to another over a period of time. As I say, I think the overwhelming majority of businesses are operating within the baseline and baseline plus tiers, and we're starting to see more businesses move towards the strategic alignment and even purpose-driven tiers. I suppose a question I would pose, just to wrap up on, is wherever you see yourself, can you see yourself moving to, say, the next tier up in the medium-term future? So that draws this video to a close. Thank you very much for watching. I really hope that it's been useful and informative. If you enjoyed it, please do give it a like. Please consider also subscribing to the ESG Partners channel, because there's more of these videos, just bite-sized videos on business sustainability and ESG. My name is Matt Thomas. If anything that you've heard today is of interest and we'd just like to discuss further, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch. My contact details are there. Thank you once again, and goodbye for now.